KMBC9 First News starts now.
Honestly, I didn't even think it was going to be an issue because I thought the storm was over, but I guess it's, just getting worse.
Way worse. Right now, another frustrating day for travelers is taking shape, especially if they're flying Southwest Airlines leaving KCI. We're live at the airport with a look at the problem and where flights stand this morning.
They don't care that tenants are being lied to when they move into buildings.
The water is back on at a Gladstone apartment complex, but the people who live there are still furious. We take a closer look at the company residents say is not taking care of the complex.
A state of emergency declared following a deadly winter storm in western New York. I'm Amy Lou in Washington with the federal response to the weather-related disaster.
6 o'clock on your Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us on First News. I'm Jamie Weiss in for Donna Pittman.
I'm Cody Holyoke alongside Pete Grigsby in for Nick. And, you get to be the bearer of good news today. So that's a nice
Absolutely.
change.
I've timed this out just right, didn't I?
Way to go, Pete.
Yeah, it's going to warm up starting today, tomorrow, all the way through the end of the week. Looking good. Temperatures above normal. It is a quiet Midwest. You see there a little bit of cloudiness. That is it. And it looks like it's going to take a little bit of time to reload and give us any precipitation. But as of right now, Plaza Lights looking good on this Tuesday morning. We have clear skies, kind of a cold morning start, 18 degrees. There is a wind chill. It feels like 5 degrees out there. The winds are picking up. They're up to 13 miles an hour from the south direction. The south direction is good. That's milder air that's going to work its way in and help us out the next couple of days. But right now it is cold. 14 in Chillicothe, Trenton at 7. Lawrence, you're at 11, and Olathe at 13, sharing that with Paola. Ottawa, Kansas, 14, and Clinton, Missouri at 10 degrees. But you factor in, despite this being a somewhat mild flow, it's going to create a wind chill. That's why it feels like just above zero. Most locations like Liberty and also areas like Odessa, about zero there. Marshall, 4 degrees. So this afternoon, plenty of sunshine, kind of a strong wind, but the high today, 37. And we're talking 40s tomorrow and 50s by Thursday. Details of that straight ahead.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, Pete. This morning, as we get to our first alert traffic, we were taking a look at our map this morning. Not running into too many issues on the roadways. Have a couple stalled vehicles reported. One's going to be on the Missouri side of the metro, the other on the Kansas side. We're not reporting any slowdowns on the roadways, but in the skies, it's a completely different story. For the past 24 hours, it's been an utter nightmare for Southwest Airlines passengers, not just here at home, but all across the country.
Yeah, at one point last night, though, at Kansas City, every single Southwest flight leaving out of KCI was canceled. And this morning, the airline has already canceled more than 60% of its flights. KMBC9's Rob Hughes is live at KCI. Rob, it's looking like a rough start up there.
It really is, Cody and Jamie. Good morning to you. The line has died down a little bit here at the Southwest Terminal at KCI, but it's been very busy. Take a look at the big board here. As you mentioned, a lot of canceled flights all over the country. That's what folks are having to deal with this morning. But we do want to let you know, though, Southwest is not the only airline that's dealing with delays and cancellations. It's largely thanks to that big winter storm moving across the country. Definitely had the biggest problems. Now, yesterday, we know that nearly 4,000 flights were canceled nationwide, and almost 3,000 of those were Southwest. That is more than 72% of the total cancellations. So what can you do if your flight's canceled? Well, Southwest says they've doubled the capacity of their customer service line, but wait times still, though, are anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. Now, you got to be ready for a wait if you go that route. You can also check the Southwest app. It's going to show you a message if you are eligible to rebook your flight through the app, saving you some time there. Now, you can also jump on the airline's website. You can use the self-service tools to book, cancel, or change your flight. Now, the biggest piece of advice here is be patient. A lot of people we spoke to this morning are being patient. They understand Southwest is doing the best they can. Airline does say they're likely going to have problems for a few more days while they dial back their schedule to get things back on track. We're live at KCI. I'm Rob Hughes, KMBC 9 News.
Thanks, Rob. We are still keeping an eye on FlightAware.com as Southwest cancels more flights. As of right now, the airline has now canceled 2,511 flights. That is 76% of their flights. The airports that have seen the most cancellations are Denver, Chicago Midway, Baltimore, Washington, Harry Reid in Las Vegas, and Dallas Left Field. Of course, we'll continue to keep an eye on this throughout the morning.
A lot of big Southwest hubs you just listed there, too. Our crews kept watching the airport throughout the day yesterday as more and more cancellations and delays kept rolling in. Travelers we talked to waited in line for hours just to talk to a customer service staffer.
4.5 hours in line. On hold with them for 3 hours.
They kept pushing it back and pushing it back. Then they finally canceled it.
It's rough. The problem was so bad, we spotted all sorts of checked baggage and lost luggage piled up near the Southwest baggage claim, brought on by this combination of delays and cancellations. This has caught the eye of the U.S. Department of Transportation, which sent out a tweet last night calling Southwest cancellations and delays unacceptable. The DOT plans to investigate if any of those cancellations were controllable and if the airline is following its customer service plan. We'll keep you posted. Meanwhile, in the Northeast, President Biden has declared a state of emergency in New York State after a huge blizzard brought feet of snow to western New York.
And this deadly storm is one of the worst weather-related disasters to ever hit New York State. Amy Lou is in Washington Bureau to explain how this declaration will help.
Well, the emergency declaration opens up federal assistance to help state and local recovery efforts, as well as help save lives. Agencies like the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA will coordinate those relief efforts. FEMA will mobilize equipment and resources to help residents around the Buffalo area. Many have been reportedly trapped for days, with some 28 people who have died from being inside their cars, homes, or while out shoveling snow. And it's not just in New York. More storm-related deaths were reported nationwide, with power knocked out from Maine to Seattle and freezing temperatures leading to frozen and bursting pipes with limited or no access to water. And with more snow expected in New York today, that emergency declaration remains in place indefinitely. In Washington, I'm Amy Lou.
All right, so we'll continue to follow that, but thankfully we don't have to deal with any of that. Maybe some of the ripple effects from travel, but man, you see some of the pictures from Buffalo, and people open their front doors and they have snow 3-4 feet high.
We got really lucky that, Pete, you mentioned yesterday we were the front end of this storm, that we missed everything they're dealing with.
We're at the very beginning, you know, it stumbles out of the gate. That's where we were, and that thing just really churned and got strengthened. Here we are in the Midwest. It looks very quiet. It is very quiet, just a lot of cold air we've dealt with, but now that's starting to moderate a little bit, and we're going to get a warmer flow of milder air kicking in by later today. Right now we're at 18 degrees with clear skies. Our wind chill about 5. Wind speed's about 13 miles an hour. The winds will be picking up at the pace a little bit by afternoon. But right now, Olathe, you're at 14 with clear skies, 15 and Lee Summit. Liberty's at 14. Compare that to like our wind speeds, well, about 10 to 15 now. They're going to be gusting up to about 24, 25 later on today. So plenty of sunshine this afternoon. The high today will welcome it. 37 degrees on into the 40s by tomorrow. 9-day forecast coming up. But right now, a quick check of the traffic with Johnny Rollins.
All right, great to see you, Pete. Thanks so much. As we take a look at your first alert traffic, and quiet today. Typically between Christmas and New Year's, we always see some light traffic here. Folks extending the holiday, taking a week, and today looks like no exception already. We can tell it's pretty darn light here. 435, we're headed eastbound along 435 coming up to Metcalf right now, and it looks pretty much wide open. So for the most part, in good shape, and no initial big problems to report. Johnny Rollins, News Chopper 9, back to you in the studio.
That's what we like to see, Johnny. Thank you. We do not like to see this. Some Northland residents had to deal with both flooding and no access to running water over the weekend. KMBC9's Andy Alcock got a look at the mess left behind and what's next.
This video shows a burst pipe on Friday shooting water in a laundry room at the Gladstone Meadows Apartments. Ryan Cervantes lives right next door, and on Monday was still dealing with a flooded apartment.
You could take a look around at the floor and see it's still all squishy, literally shooting water.
Ryan said it's the 9th time his apartment is flooded in the 7 months he's lived here. This time it poured cold water on his Christmas plans.
I was going to spend it here and then go and visit the family. Obviously, it was hard to wrap presents when stuff's floating around.
This trip to Gladstone Meadows is not the first time we have been to this apartment complex or even this building. We were here in July when there was an ongoing air conditioning problem. NFI Management runs the complex. The Better Business Bureau gives the company a C- rating, and it's not accredited. Due to the burst pipe, Tammy Carpenter was one of several Gladstone Meadows residents with no running water from Friday until Monday afternoon.
They don't care if they lose tenants. They don't care that tenants are being lied to when they move into buildings.
Ryan is seeking legal counsel to leave what he calls third world living conditions. Andy Alcock, KMBC 9 News.
Now, maintenance workers were finally able to get the water back on Monday afternoon. We reached out to NFI Management to ask about the plumbing problems, but I've yet to hear back.
A fire destroyed a family's home Christmas Day, and they think it started with a space heater. The Mendoza family says 3 adults made it out safely Christmas morning. The 3 kids luckily weren't home, but the family's pets, their clothes, important documents, and everything else are gone. It's obviously not the Christmas they had hoped for, but they're just thankful to have what they still have.
When you hear your house is on fire, it's like you're gonna lose everything. Like, the most important thing is that my family is okay, you know? That's the thing I was most important, worried about. And they're okay, and I'm glad they're okay.
A donation page has been set up to help the family. You can find it on our website right now. That's KMBC9.com. We now know the name of the driver killed after his van crashed into Brush Creek on Thursday. Kansas City, Missouri police say 76-year-old Ernest Carney lost control of his Dodge Caravan on the Paseo near MLK Boulevard. Firefighters had to wear special gear to get him out of the icy water. They say it took 19 minutes. Police say it was the icy conditions that day that contributed to that accident.
Kansas City Zoo has a request as you take down your holiday decorations.
They say instead of tossing them out, bring your holiday lights to the zoo. Next on First News, the reason they say it's so important that they don't end up in the trash.
And the Denver Broncos head coach is out just days before the team comes to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. We'll hear from head coach Andy Reid about the staffing change.
The winds will kick in and bring us some milder air. Today's highs expected around 37 to 38 degrees. And it doesn't stop there. 9-day forecast coming up.
Honored with the Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Best Newscast. KMBC 9 News, leading the way.
Time right now is 6:13 on your Tuesday morning as we take a live look over the Country Club Plaza. If you were sick of the cold, just hang on. A warming trend finally begins today. Pete is going to tell us when we could see temperatures near 60 degrees coming up. But first, let's send things over to News Chopper 9's Johnny Rollins. Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning, Jamie, and yeah, looking forward to 60 degrees after kind of a brutal week or two. Here we go with a 71 highway I-49 run from the south side. Taking a look down at Main Street here, northbound on I-49, coming through Grandview and headed up to the Triangle. No problems here at all. Very quiet start. No initial accidents or worries for you if you're getting ready to head out this morning whatsoever. Johnny Rollins, News Chopper 9, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Johnny. And as we take a look at our traffic map in your first alert traffic, just dealing with a single stalled vehicle left over. This is going to be over on K10 westbound just past Woodland Road. This is not going to be impacting your drive times this morning, so should be able to get out the door, no problem. Police in a southern suburb of Seattle say that they're still looking for suspects after someone vandalized 3 power substations. This left 14,000 people in the dark. Officers say they broke into a fenced-in area, but they didn't take anything from the substation. However, they did damage the equipment there. One woman whose power went out says she had to cancel her Christmas plans because she didn't have heat or water.
Scary in our small little community that something like that would happen. This is stressful. I just need to know what we're going to do. I feel bad. You know, we had 12 people coming for dinner.
So far, no one is in custody. Police are not sure how those 3 break-ins are related. Federal regulators are ordering a security review at electric transmission facilities. This comes after the 2 vandalisms in both Washington State and North Carolina. This led to thousands of people being without power. The North American Electric Reliability Corporation has been ordered to review their physical securities rules, and the group must deliver its report within 4 months.
You might have some extra trash piling up following the holiday this week. That's because several crews couldn't collect last week because of the extreme winter weather. In Kansas City, Missouri, trash collection will now be Friday and Saturday this week, and you'll be able to leave out up to 14 bags because of the pickup delay. Tree recycling locations are open now that Christmas has come and gone. So if you live in Johnson County, you can take your live tree to 4 locations through the end of the year: Big Bull Creek Park, Heritage Park Marina, Kill Creek Park Marina, and Shawnee Mission Park. And as you start taking down your holiday decorations, we want to pass along a request from the Kansas City Zoo. Workers there want your old lights.
And they say recycling them instead of sending them to a landfill actually helps save the animals. KMBC9's Alan Shope has the story.
We're taking broken, used lights.
It's just a simple blue barrel, and just one day after Christmas, it's already been filled 4 times.
Just the Christmas lights that are on your tree. If they've got broken bulbs, they're not working.
Because the zoo says
there are a lot of recyclable components in the lights: copper, plastic, and glass.
All things the Kansas City Zoo says is not only bad for the environment if tossed into a landfill, but also bad for wild animals in a big way.
The lead can leak into the environment, that gets into waterways.
It's the
second year of the campaign. Last year, the zoo took in more than 900 pounds of lights.
We just want people to think twice before they throw things away. If there's a way that something can be reused or recycled properly.
The Blue Barrel will be in the lobby at the Kansas City Zoo through January 8th.
We're very involved in many conservation and sustainability projects. So this is just a new program that we kind of worked on to help people, do the right thing by the environment.
The zoo hopes to pass last year's goal and get more than 1,000 pounds of recycled Christmas lights this year.
We need to keep the earth safe so that our animals have a place to live.
In Kansas City, Alan Shope, KMBC 9 News.
You can drop off those lights daily between 9 and 4. The zoo also wants to remind everyone they'll be having a New Year's countdown celebration Saturday from 10 a.m. till noon.
6:17. Good news. You have 6 more weeks of Plaza Lights. No groundhogs involved or anything. An announcement was just made last night. Organizers say the iconic display will stay lit every night until February 19th, much longer than the original cutoff of January 8th, so you can now enjoy them well into the winter.
The Kansas City Chiefs have 2 more regular season games before they head to the playoffs.
They're going to secure at least the second seed in the AFC if they run the table and win out here. The Chiefs host the Broncos Sunday. Just yesterday, Denver announced it is firing its first-year head coach, Nathaniel Hackett. They've already parted ways. Denver has only managed 4 wins this season so far. The Chiefs eked out a win in Denver a couple of weeks ago after nearly losing a 27-0 lead. Head coach Andy Reid talked about Hackett's firing with reporters yesterday.
As long as the owners can see a vision for the future, with what they've got, they normally hang with you on that. But I'm sure if they're feeling, I can't speak for them, but I think that's what, as long as they can see something that is going to be a positive going forward, they're good with it.
And I guess they couldn't see that. Here's a look at the AFC playoff standings. 4 teams have clinched a spot, including the Chiefs. Kansas City hosts Denver before headed to Las Vegas for the regular season finale against the Raiders. And then you have the Bills taking on the Bengals Monday night. We need to keep an eye on that one because that will affect the Chiefs' playoff standings. As it stands right now, the Chiefs would host the Dolphins on opening weekend, but they can't seem to win a game really right now. So
I just hope Tua is doing okay. That's my thought with all that.
Yeah, and the concussion protocol again. I mean, that's really, really rough.
Yeah.
Pete, how's the weather looking for the Chiefs game on Sunday?
Well, part of that warm-up trend we're going to have starting this afternoon is going to lead right into the weekend. Now, there's a slight chance of a shower when you're dealing with the New Year's Eve earlier in that day. So if you're going to be celebrating that night, things look pretty good. 48 degrees for a high. And look at Sunday, the first day of 2023, and we're talking Kansas City, mostly cloudy and a high of 53 degrees. That is a big change compared to last weekend's game at Arrowhead. As of right now, though, clear skies and 18 degrees. Our wind chill at 5. Wind speeds are from the south at 13 miles an hour. That's going to help us out. Our numbers still on the cold side. We look around the metro area. I mean, look at areas like Olathe, 14, 15 in Lee Summit, 17 in downtown KCI, 18, feeling like just above 0. 60 degrees in Maryville and 11 degrees in Lawrence. Warrensburg, you're at 12. Odessa at 15. And not much activity, a little bit of cloudiness, but you'll have mixed sun and clouds today. And with the sunshine and the strong winds from a south direction, that's why it's going to be a high today around 37 degrees. Wind gusts up to about 28 miles an hour. So hold on to that. But the winds are going to help us out for the next several days. Speaking of which, look at the high on Wednesday. Despite the nice windy conditions, 49 for a high, up to 57, flirting with that 60 in some spots with a spotty shower possible. Just a lot of cloudiness. 49 as we drop back down on Friday, but overall temperatures staying well above normal, and again 53 degrees on Sunday as we welcome in the new year. Looking good.
All right, looking forward to that. Thanks, Pete. And whether you're the party type or the stay-at-home type, we've got you covered for New Year's Eve. Next on First News, we'll share some of the events happening around the metro to help you say adieu to 2022.
And this morning, everyone's okay after a terrifying avalanche at an Austrian ski resort. Good Morning America will share some advice on what to do if you ever get caught in an avalanche on the slopes this winter. GMA starts at 7 here on Channel 9.
It is 6:24 on your Tuesday morning as we take a live look over downtown Kansas City. A beautiful start to your morning. And guess what? It is finally going to get warmer later on this week. We're going to check in with First Alert meteorologist Pete Grigsby to find out exactly when that warm up is coming our way in just a bit. 'Tis the season for Mariah Carey to break another record on Christmas Eve. Her iconic song All I Want for Christmas Is You was played more than 21 million times on Spotify. That is a new record for the most times a song has been streamed in a single day, and she broke the record that was set by herself. So as it warms up a little, you might decide to try to ice skate at Crown Center. The skating rink was temporarily closed last week because of the extreme cold. Well, the outdoor ice terrace is now back open every day from 10 to 6 on New Year's Eve and then noon to 9 on New Year's Day.
Of course, New Year's Eve is Saturday, and there are plenty of celebrations in our area. Power and Light party gets started at 6:30, complete with confetti cannons, a champagne toast, ball drop at midnight. Tickets start at $60 a piece. You can celebrate early with your kids at Union Station. New Year's Eve. I love this idea. It goes from 12 to 6 Saturday. The theme is Pajama Party. You're invited to throw on your favorite pair of PJs and enjoy activities throughout the day. Tickets are $14.50 a person.
Or if you'd rather stay home on New Year's Eve, you can party with us. Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest starts at 7 o'clock right here on KMBC9. This year is the show's 50th anniversary, so bringing the new year across the country from Times Square to right here in Kansas City at midnight. Be sure to look for KMBC9 News at 9 o'clock that night. It's all going to be right here on Channel 9.
Right now at KCI, the day is off to a very rough start. Look at all this red for hundreds, if not thousands of passengers flying Southwest. More cancellations just cropped up. Majority of flights out of KCI, Southwest flights have already been canceled. Next on First News, we'll share some advice on what to do if your flight is on that list.
And as we look across the plaza, looking at the lights, remember 6 more weeks of lights, but is there going to be more winter or warmer weather to come? Stay tuned for that.
KMBC9 First News starts now.
Local flyers are still seeing red after many flight cancellations and delays across the country. This morning, we'll give you the latest on the disruptions that are causing headaches at KCI.
I'm ABC's Justin Finch. The White House just signing off on federal emergency assistance for Western New York, now recovering from one of its worst blizzards in decades. Well, we are learning about the dozens killed and the transportation impacts this morning.
And abuse allegations are coming out against a former leader of a local children's theater. Hear from a young man on why he says he needed to share his story. Also, we'll take a look at the massive response he's received since. Good morning. Thanks for joining us this Tuesday morning. I'm Cody Holyoke.
And I'm Jamie Weiss. Pete Grigsby has your first alert forecast. And Pete, I think we're all ready for warmer temperatures.
I think so. And we're going to get that starting this afternoon. Beautiful shot of the plaza on this early Tuesday morning. Kind of a cold morning start, though. Clear skies, 18 degrees. There is a wind chill of 5 degrees. The reason why? Wind speeds anywhere from 10 to 15 miles an hour. They'll be sustained, maybe up to 20 miles an hour later this afternoon. Liberty, you're at 14 degrees. Cameron at 15. Lawrence, you're at 11. Lacine at 14, along with Butler and Clinton around 10 degrees. Your wind flow from a south direction, that is milder air. That's why it's going to help us get that thermometer reading up this afternoon, tomorrow on into Thursday. But right now, there is a wind chill, feeling like 4 degrees above zero in Liberty, Missouri. Leavenworth at 5 and 1 degree there in Paola, along with Ottawa, Olathe, and Garnett. Now, speaking of this afternoon, though, this is where you'll feel the difference. The strong winds from the south getting us up to about 37 degrees. We'll have a little help from the sunshine, but the wind gusts will also be about 28 miles an hour. If you are going to be heading out this evening, it'll drop back down to the low 30s, and then you'll start to really feel the difference come tomorrow. We're talking 40s and then 50s. Hey, Johnny, how's the traffic going on this Tuesday morning?
Well, pretty good, Pete. Take a look. A pretty picture here of the Bruce Watkins Drive with the kind of bluish purple lights. That has nothing to do with Christmas. Those are those lights we've been talking about for quite a while that are beginning to malfunction along 71 Highway, the Bruce Watkins Drive. That's where we see most of them, but we've seen a few in Overland Park and other spots around town too. And we're not the only city that has been dealing with this. Apparently, it's a nationwide problem with lights that were manufactured or had some flaw during manufacture. So all over the nation, they're dealing with the fact that these lights are going south on them, and when they do, they are normally the amber color, but when they do, they turn blue. Pretty from up here. I don't know what it looks like driving through, but somewhat eerie, I would imagine. Johnny Rollins, News Chopper 9. By the way, traffic looks great this morning. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Johnny. We're going to take a look at a couple scout cameras this morning. Here's the Triangle, 71 Highway at 470. None of those purple bluish lights here at the Triangle. Road conditions looking great. Not seeing any slowdowns on 435 westbound. And as we check in on the other side of the state line, K10 and K7, all clear there as well. At least the roadways, Cody, have been clear.
Yeah, right now we are tracking many problems with air travel. Past 24 hours have just been a nightmare for Southwest Airlines passengers across the country and here at home.
At one point last night, every single Southwest flight coming into or out of KCI was canceled. And this morning, the airline has already canceled more than 60% of its flights. KMBC9's Rob Hughes is live at KCI this morning. And Rob, it's looking like a rough start out there.
It really is, Jamie and Cody. Good morning to you. We're here at the big board. Been watching it all morning. A lot of cancellations, a lot of red. But take a look at this. As more flights come into KCI, you can see the line has grown, probably the longest it has been all morning. Earlier this morning, around 4:35 a.m., it was long. It died down, and now things are looking pretty bad here as people are trying to rebook their flights. Now, I do want to let you know, though, Southwest is not the only airline having to deal with delays and cancellations. That's largely thanks due to that big winter storm moving across the country, but it's definitely had the biggest problems. Now, yesterday, nearly 4,000 flights were canceled nationwide, and almost 3,000 of those were Southwest. That's more than 72% of the total cancellations. Now, what can you do if your flight's canceled? Well, Southwest says it is double the capacity of its customer service line, but still wait times, though, anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, so you have to be ready for a wait if you go that route. You can also check the Southwest app. It's going to show you a message if you're eligible to rebook your flight through the app. That's going to save you some time there. And, of course, you can also jump on the airline's website, and you can use their self-service tools to book, cancel, or change your flight. Biggest piece of advice here, of course, got to just be patient. Southwest says they're likely going to have problems for a few more days, so they're going to dial back their schedule to try to get things back on track. We're live at KCI. I'm Rob Hughes, KMBC 9 News.
Now to the latest on the winter storm that's frozen much of western New York State and claimed dozens of lives.
Yeah, President Biden has now approved federal disaster aid for the Buffalo, New York area as people there brace for another day of sub-freezing temperatures and lake-effect snow. ABC's Justin Finch is watching the storm.
Federal emergency assistance now on the way to a western New York currently crippled by more than 4 feet of snow and bracing for more.
Certainly it is the blizzard of the century.
The Buffalo area reporting at least 29 storm-related deaths, more than half found outside, and more than 500 have been rescued from extreme conditions.
I heard him screaming for help.
This woman credits quick-thinking neighbors for helping her get this man suffering from apparent severe frostbite to an emergency room. Buffalo is banning travel on its now treacherous roads, and its airport is remaining closed until at least Wednesday.
It's been catastrophic. It's been a failure at every level.
The Department of Transportation now looking into Southwest Airlines canceling of more than half of its flights Monday and Tuesday.
This one started west, swept east, and impacted almost every single one of our largest airports that put us in a position where we struggled to recover.
System-wide, airlines canceled more than 3,600 flights Monday, stranding passengers across the country.
My daughter's in New York City all by herself, very sad. It ruined our Christmas.
And scientists caution extreme winter weather could become more common, finding climate change is leading to a rapid warming of the Arctic, which can play a role in driving frigid air farther south into the U.S. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
We can help you stay up to date on weather that could have an impact on your flight. Just download our KMBC9 News app. It's free. You can use it to watch our weather team's custom forecast or live newscast. It's free wherever you get your apps.
The longtime artistic director of the Coterie Children's Theater has died following multiple allegations of abuse. Police found 63-year-old Jeff Church dead on Saturday, and we do want to warn you that this story discusses an alleged sexual assault. KMBC9's Peyton Headley spoke with one of Church's accusers about why he's speaking up now.
The Coterie is just inside of Crown Center. That's the children's theater where Jeff Church worked for more than 30 years. I talked with one man that says he's a victim of Church, and he's not alone.
The next thing you know, he's like touching me, and then kind of pushes me onto his bed.
It was 2017 when Deshaun Young says Jeff Church sexually assaulted him. He was 23 years old.
Literally the words out of his mouth were, "I don't care. I don't care what you want."
Young posted this video on Facebook 6 days ago, talking about it publicly for the first time.
All I was wanting to do was tell my truth, tell my experience, and tell my story.
After Young posted the video, he found he wasn't alone in his experience. Numerous other people commented, sharing similar stories about the Coterie's longtime artistic director.
The amount of numbers that's out there was staggering. The amount of possible numbers out there is even more terrifying.
Following the allegations, the Children's Theater posted this statement on Facebook, saying they placed Church on administrative leave and hired an outside investigator. The next day, the board of directors accepted Church's resignation. Hours later, police confirmed his death.
In December of 1990, I had gotten the Coterie job.
One day before Young posted his video, we talked to Church at a tribute service for the Coterie's executive director.
We saved hundreds of thousands of kids over the course of a year.
I felt like I was in comfortable hands, trusting hands.
Young hopes his story will help more people to tell theirs.
And so this whole thing is like just devastating, honestly, from all angles.
To be clear, no charges have been filed. Young said he wasn't looking for justice. He just wanted to tell his story. In Kansas City, Peyton Headley at KMBC 9 News.
The medical examiner will determine the cause of death. We've reached out to the Coterie Theater for comment, but have not yet heard back.
6:38, we're learning more about a 3-year-old girl shot to death on Christmas Eve. Kansas City, Missouri police found Kazariah Jackson shot inside a home on James A. Reed in southern KC Saturday evening. She later died at the hospital. Police say the shooting was accidental and that officers are not looking for suspects. Well, last night, Kazariah's mom shared these photos of her little girl. She tells us her daughter was full of life, funny, curious about everything, and friendly to everybody. Her favorite question was why? Always wanting to learn about new things. Now, police haven't yet said exactly what happened. We do know that there's a GoFundMe page set up, though, for the family to help with funeral expenses.
Children's Mercy is blaming the cold weather for water damage at their Independence location. They've been closed since Saturday and hope to have things back to normal by next Monday, but they say repairs could take even longer. The health system's other 2 locations in Blue Valley and the Northland are taking walk-ins. Just keep in mind, you can use Save My Spot to find a time that works for your visit. Just go to childrensmercy.org/SaveMySpot. Spots do fill up quickly, so try to book an appointment as soon as possible. And with the cold weather that we saw last week, you know, we were encouraging people to drip their faucets, but I know we got calls over the weekend about a lot of burst water pipes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, plumbers and HVAC technicians are very, very busy. At least they have some warm weather to work on those repairs now.
And that's a little concerning, too, because as we begin to thaw out,
right,
you know, you're going to hear of more breaks, especially it's going to be affecting some people out there. However, the overall warm-up is going to be nice for the next several days, okay? Here we are on a Tuesday morning, though. It's clear. It is cold out there. Live shot of the plaza here. It is 18 degrees. There's a wind chill of 5 degrees. Wind speeds are about 13 to 15 miles an hour. We look at the numbers, though, like Maryville at 17, St. Joseph at 16 degrees, Leavenworth, you're at 18, Butler at 14, Lacine also at 14, and your wind flow from a south direction is really going to help us out. Reason why that is milder air, and as it continues that track for the next 3 days, that's why our temperatures will soar upward. Today's high at 37 degrees, wind speeds 10 to 20 miles an hour, gusting probably around 28. So keep that in mind as we get into the 40s by tomorrow. All right, Johnny Rollins, you have an update for us from the traffic.
And from the sky, too, as you were talking about the temperatures warming up, that southerly flow, we've already got it at altitude about 25, 30 miles an hour here. As we are tracking inbound, look at the sports complex before zooming in. Blue Ridge Cutoff, I-70 westbound here, headed on over to the 435 interchange, and everything is looking good. Still no major problems to report anywhere as we have a wide open run all over town. Johnny Rollins, News Chopper 9, back to you in the studio.
We'll take it, Johnny. Thank you. With temperatures warming up, Spire says you no longer have to conserve your natural gas. We know both Spire and Atmos Energy asked customers to lower thermostats and limit use of gas fireplaces and large appliances during last week's extreme cold. The utilities were worried about keeping up with demand. Of course, conserving energy can lower your bill and make sure providers don't temporarily run out of natural gas.
Submitting college applications without entrance exams. I'm Amy Lou in Washington with why the shift away from standardized testing could become permanent.
The K-State Wildcats are in the Big Easy, gearing up for a New Year's Eve bowl game. Next on First News, hear from head coach Chris Kleiman on the secrets to the team's successes this season.
The latest facts, important updates, and what to expect. KMBC 9 First News, leading the way.
.44. We have so many more degrees than we've had historically over the past few days. We have 18 degrees right now, and the temperature is only rising. If you are sick of the cold, just be patient. The warm-up is starting in earnest today. Pete Grigsby will tell us when we could see temps near 60 degrees coming up. That'll be welcome, Johnny.
Absolutely. I think after last week, even 17, 18 right now sounds pretty warm. All right, let's take a look at your first alert traffic, and looking great here for the run in. Northbound I-435 over a really dark area would be the Missouri River. That is pretty much, I don't know if you can see, but a lot of ice on the river right now. We haven't seen any ice dams backing up any water, but right now definitely evidence of how cold it has been as we come northbound on 435 across the bridge up to 210 Highway and all the way up to I-35. The run there looking good. Southbound coming towards us from I-35 down to I-70 looking equally as good, and as predicted, we are seeing lighter traffic here, probably will all week long between Christmas and New Year's. Johnny Rollins, News Chopper 9, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Johnny. Let's take a look at our traffic map real quick in your first alert traffic. Still keeping our eye on that stalled vehicle reported K10 at Woodland. The rest of the metro, like Johnny mentioned, looking clear and smooth. No slowdowns on the roads, Cody.
Right now, investigators are still trying to figure out what caused a fire on a JetBlue flight in New York, forced more than 160 people off of a plane. Spokesperson from the airline says the fire started Christmas Eve, right after the plane had already landed at JFK, coming back from Barbados.
The fate of a Trump-era border policy is now with the Supreme Court. Title 42 allows migrants to be turned away without being able to claim asylum. Well, now the White House says Texas's governor is adding to the political battle. Biden has accused Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, of sending 3 buses of migrants to Vice President Kamala Harris's home in D.C. over the weekend. The governor's office has not said that it sent those buses. Aid workers say more than 100 people were left outside in the record-breaking cold.
It's been so cold that people, I step outside and they say, please, let me in, even if they're standing room only. I don't even have to find a place on the floor to sleep as long as you just allow me to come in.
The Department of Homeland Security says migrants should not try to cross the border in this cold. It's not clear when the Supreme Court will issue a decision on Title 42. Meanwhile, the number of asylum seekers in the U.S. has hit an all-time record. 1.6 million asylum applications are pending right now in U.S. immigration courts. It's the largest number ever recorded. The asylum seekers are from 219 different countries and speak 418 different languages. The leading countries of origin include Guatemala, Venezuela, Cuba, and Brazil. High school seniors across the country are putting their final touches on those college applications this year, but many students will be able to leave standardized test scores off those submissions.
Yeah, it's a big change. Amy Lou's in our Washington bureau watching why many universities and colleges are moving toward a test-blind option.
Well, a lot of schools went test optional during the worst of the pandemic, but now a shift away from requiring standardized test scores on college applications is becoming permanent.
The pandemic pushed this issue over the line.
Admission without ACT and SAT scores now the new normal. More than 1,800 colleges across the country are test optional for fall 2023 applications, with nearly 80 schools not considering entry exams at all.
What is actually the best predictor of how students will fare in college? It's not SAT or ACTs. It's grades.
Test providers, though, saying exams can showcase a student's strengths outside of their GPA.
They can tell a college or university, sure, I experienced some learning disruptions, but I've got some really strong math and science scores, which align to my interests in a STEM major or a STEM field.
A lot of it is mostly about being able to prepare and have resources in order to know the test.
Opponents arguing entrance exams discriminate against minority and low-income students with less access to test prep.
The more weight that admissions processes place on ACTs or SATs, the less inclusive and diverse their student body is going to be.
But standardized testing is far from gone. 9 states require all high school students to take the ACT, 9 others require the SAT, 4 require either exam. And in many cases, students can still submit test scores outside of the college admissions process for course placement and scholarships.
This is part of a much longer conversation, a much larger conversation about student preparedness, about equity in American education.
Universities can bring back entrance exam requirements at any time, but experts say that right now is unlikely. In Washington, I'm Amy Lou.
6:49, let's talk some football, shall we? Kansas State Wildcats are down in the Big Easy. The Big 12 champions arrived in New Orleans ahead of Saturday's Sugar Bowl. K-State will take on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Wildcats have come a long way since the early season loss to Tulane, and Coach Chris Kleiman was asked about the team's successes, and he attributes this season this success to 2 players with ties to the Metro, former Piper star Cooper Beebe and Lee Summit's Felix and Udike Uzama.
It's the success for sure, and then it's the culture of our locker room. It's the leaders. You're going to visit with 2 of them in Cooper and Felix that are leaders on our football team. That these guys started this journey back in January when we got back from Houston in a Texas Bowl, and this was part of that journey, is to have a chance to win a Big 12 championship and play in a New Year's Six game.
Liberty Bowl kicks off tomorrow. Kansas Jayhawks will face the Arkansas Razorbacks. Both teams finished the regular season at 6-6. This would be Kansas' first bowl appearance since 2008. Kickoff set for 4:30 Wednesday afternoon.
Turning to college hoops, the latest basketball polls are out. Not much movement for the top of the men's. The Kansas Jayhawks will stay at number 4, and they open Big 12 play on Saturday when they host Oklahoma State. For women's basketball, no change with the top 5. The Kansas Jayhawks dropped 2 spots to 22 after suffering their first loss of the season, a triple overtime thriller at Nebraska. Kansas is at Oklahoma State Saturday for their Big 12 opener. And at 6:51, we want to go ahead and get another check of the forecast with Pete Grigsby.
Yeah, it's nice to see a warming trend finally, Pete.
You mean the darker colors on this map? Yeah, it looks like all the Central Plains, Midwest, even its extreme eastern coast, Northeast, and well, the entire area, eastern half, is going to be above normal temperatures starting now all the way through the end of the week. Kind of give you a heads up on our daytime highs expected. Look at Wednesday, 49 degrees, up to 57 on Thursday. Friday and Saturday looking good, 49 and 48, and back into the 50s when we talk about Sunday and Monday. Okay, so this Tuesday morning, we have clear skies. It's 18 degrees. Yeah, it's still cold out there with the wind chill about 5 degrees. Wind speeds about 10 to 15 miles an hour, creating that wind chill. 17, but it feels like 5 downtown. Olathe at 14 with a 1-degree wind chill and 15 degrees in Lee Summit. Maryville, you're at 17, St. Joseph 16, Trenton at 7, Lacine and Paola about 14 and 13, and Olathe and Lawrence also in the low teens. Not much going on, a little bit of cloudiness, but you're going to get some sunshine to help us out this afternoon. That'll help push that thermometer reading up to about 37 for the high, and the wind speeds picking up, gusting at times around 28 miles an hour. On the 9-day forecast, well, you know what, that's jumping ahead. Look at that. Let me push it again. Let's try it again. There we go. 49 expected for the high on Wednesday. Windy conditions. A spotty shower on Thursday with a high of 57 degrees. Back down to 49 for Friday. And a rain chance by the weekend, but overall, nice. 48 and 53. We will be right back.
This morning, New York is under a state of emergency after parts of the state were buried in snow, leaving dozens of people dead. To make things even worse, more snow is on the way. Good Morning America will take a closer look at how the state's bracing for impact and the factors experts say made this storm so intense. That's next, right here on 9.
Right now, nearly every single Southwest Airlines flight out of KCI has been canceled for the day. It's the second day of major issues with this airline. Southwest is blaming all of this on the winter storm. When First News continues on KCWE, we'll have a live update from KCI. Also some advice on what to do if your flight is not taking off today. And Johnny, some people are going to be waiting for days to get on a flight.
It's unbelievable how many flights have been canceled. And, you know, one thing we haven't talked about today is road conditions, as we did see a lot of sunshine over the weekend, and that really helped clear things out. So most of the interstates and freeways are in great shape. Some of the side streets still could be dicey. Main thoroughfares look pretty good, too. Johnny Rollins, News Chopper 9, back to you in the studio.
All right, it'll be a welcomed 37 degrees this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine. Wind speeds picking up 10 to 15 miles an hour, gusting at times into the mid-upper 20s. If you're heading out this evening, clear skies down to 33 degrees. Overall, a very nice day compared to where we've been.
Yeah, change is good. All right, thank you. Thanks so much for waking up with us today. GMA is next. First News continues on KCWE.
Hope you all have a wonderful day. Look at this gorgeous sunrise, courtesy of News Chopper 9's Johnny Rollins. We'll see you soon.